Hey, I'm Ballsy and welcome to another installment of the CanWest Top 50 show. Thanks for checking us out. If we're keeping score, 3 of the guys in this grouping of players have been drafted to the CFL. One is starting for the first time ever in his 5-year career. There's an emerging offensive lineman and a running back who's been an all-star twice. Before we get to this week's show, let's rewind to see how we got here. All right, here with University of Saskatchewan Huskies receiver Sam Becker from Esterhazy. So you're a student athlete and also in the working world. Where you work at a warehouse doing what?
Honestly, just driving forklift right now. Just trying to kill some time. I'm only taking one class this semester, so I thought I'd get some money and just keep training. And one class isn't a whole lot of work, so getting through that and just keeping busy.
So what are you taking in school? What do you want to be after you're done playing football eventually?
I think I'm going to be a police officer is kind of where I want to be. I never really had an idea. Kind of going through university. I was only coming to school to play football, to be honest. I was never like a university guy. If I didn't play football, I would have been like electrician or kind of mechanic somewhere in the trades. But no, I'll get my sociology degree at the end or in the spring here. So it's not like directly made for our police force, but it's kind of something kind of towards that. So I've kind of the last couple of years, it's kind of just been crossing my mind. And I think that's kind of something I want to pursue. Another guy on the team, Julon Lynch, he got into cop school and passed. Now he's working in the city of Saskatoon here. So it's just kind of good connections with the team and stuff. And that's definitely a lifestyle I think I could live.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So football really turned you on to school, like academics almost, right? It took you down a totally different path.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I definitely struggled with academics the first couple of years, but I figured out what I had to do. And hey, to play football, you have to go to school. So I had to do it.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, it was a great 2020 for you. You got drafted by the Toronto Argonauts. Doesn't that seem like a decade ago?
Yeah, it really does, honestly. Like a year ago, it's flew by, and I'm just trying to stay ready, I guess, and hoping that we can have some football on a field this fall.
When I talked to your coaches, they said they always knew you had the athletic talent, Flory and those guys. It was coming to university from 9-man football in Esterhazy and learning the route concepts and all that type of stuff. Do you remember coming to the Huskies for the first time, and what did that feel like, just playing a different game and learning different things?
Yeah, honestly, I came here, showed up the first day, whatever, spring camp even. And I remember we got our little week pamphlet playbook for the week, each day install. And I'm like looking at this stuff and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I don't know the difference. I don't know formations. I don't know motions. I couldn't tell you a thing, especially, our 9-man playbook was basically at the end of the day was toss the ball to Sam to the right or toss the ball to Sam to the left. So, it was definitely a big adjustment, but I would like to say that having Mason Nias as my roommate in my first year was definitely a huge thing for growing. Him being a quarterback on the team and him being knowledgeable is all heck and stuff. So he definitely was there to guide me through. But yeah, I definitely took first 2-3 years was definitely a big learning curve to finally get familiarized with it and just kind of learn the flow of the game and just the pace and the styles. So definitely totally different than anything I played before I came here.
And as we talk here right now, we obviously taped this earlier than when people are watching it. You have just signed your contract with the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. You played 9-man football and you're on the verge of becoming a CFL player, signing a contract. What was that like for you? How cool is that, man?
It really is kind of crazy. I don't know if I just think because maybe it just happened to me, I don't think of it as, being a big deal, but obviously it really is. And I had a goal, and when I was that 16, 17, I really loved football. And I said, hey, I'm going to play in the CFL. I know it's doable. I want to do it. And hey, look at me now. I'm signing for first pro contract 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's all coming along. And hey, that's basically that's the first part. Now, the first part of the process is signing a contract. Now there's a whole lot more to go on.
One thing with you, man, on this list, you're not as high as you probably could be, and I think a lot of it has to do with injuries. You had a stretch there where you hurt your collarbone or shoulder 2 years in a row. Just talk about that. It's really kind of a couple of freak injuries.
Yeah, no, I broke it. Yeah, in my third year, it would have been the second game. And yeah, that was shit. I mean, the first one, I mean, it was what it was. It was broken. And the worst thing was that our team actually, we had an awesome year that year. We made it to whatever, the semifinals. The guys got to go to London. I got to miss out on all that. So that was definitely, you know, I missed out on that. But the first injury, I didn't look at it as like the biggest thing, you know. I was like, whatever, it was my first real ever major injury. I'm going to get the redshirt year back. I'm going to come back better as ever, as usual, as everyone says. So yeah, I trained up, and literally that first day of training camp, that coming fall, just the ball over the shoulder, and DB just kind of came over talking to me, landed on it, snapped again. And instantly I knew it was broken. And right there, that's when everything kind of hit me. I was like, damn, this is my draft year. I have no film from, like, literally right in the field, I'm thinking, this is my draft year. I have no film from last year, barely anything from my second year. I mean, we had a bunch of other guys, Hillis, Julan, all those guys. So it wasn't like I did much. So yeah, there was definitely a lot of things running through my mind, and it was instantly, when can I get on the field? Like, when can I get back on the field? And then luckily our surgeon had me in probably within 4 or 5 days, slap the plate on it, and was like, should be good to go in 7.5 weeks. In 7.5 weeks I was back, and yeah, and then it was history from there, I guess you could say. But yeah, no, definitely a big part of my career was the injuries, for sure.
Yeah, but when you've been on the field, you've definitely given the Huskies a good bang for their scholarship buck. Lastly, it's weird for you, man. It's kind of a no man's land for you. Like, you don't know what the future of the CFL is as we tape this thing. I mean, we're confident they'll get back in 2021, and we don't know if Sam Baker's going to be an Argo or if he's going to be back with the Huskies. How are you approaching?
Honestly, I'm just approaching like I guess it would have the year, like last year, it was in the present. So basically, I'm just training just like I'm going to training camp for the Argos, compete my ass off, see if I can make a roster spot. If not, I'd be happy to come back here, and hopefully, same thing. If there's a season here, I would love to play with these group of guys. I haven't got a full season with them in a couple of years here. So I would really like to actually show the CanWest what I really, really can do with a full season, because I think that would be. I just want to prove it to myself as well.
Yeah, I've asked every guy what their personal goal is. Sam Baker really hasn't shown us what he can do for a full season. Do you feel that you are right there with the best receivers in the conference if you're healthy for the full slate of games?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt in my mind. I think if you're talking about goals, obviously first goal is win a Gagné for the team, obviously. But personal goals, I've wanted to be an All-Canadian since I've got here. Every year, I think this is the year. Every year it kind of didn't work out. Only had half a year, but I definitely, with a full year, I definitely think I would be definitely a top receiver. Could be an All-Canadian in the league for sure.
Lastly, Sam, is it important for you to be a role model for young kids, say a young kid in Esterhazy that sees Sam Baker come from 9-man football to go on to maybe play in the CFL and then after be a cop or whatever? How important is it for you to be a role model for that kid in little old Saskatchewan town that does well?
Yeah, no, I think it's big. I think a lot more kids look up to me than I would ever think or like ever want to know. But I think, yeah, it's just big. I think I just like to say, you know, work hard. If you love something, work as hard as you can at that. And if you're good, people will find you. And now that guys like myself and my cousin Avery, who's been, you know, CIS, kind of got guys from small town, I think that it's just more on the map, and that, you know, scouts and stuff aren't just looking into cities like Regina and Saskatoon. They're looking out and about, and, you know, there's some ball. I'll tell you, there's some ballers in 9-man. I bet there's guys better than me out there without a doubt in high school, and they're just never found. They just love playing the game of ball. So yeah, no, I just can keep your head up. And now just as the world is, you know, like with videos and just highlight tapes, I think it's a lot more exposure in the world now and stuff. So I think if you're good enough, they're going to find you. So
one of my favorite things about this project, Sam, is meeting guys like you and getting to learn different things about them. So it's cool, man. I'm glad things are working out for you. And however it goes, can't wait to see you either in Boatman Blue or Husky Green. Thanks for this, buddy.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time, and I can't wait to see the video here.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that, man.
Well, yeah, have a good one, Ballsy.
I'll let you know when it's out, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Take care, man. Bye.
You too.
Here with longtime UFC quarterback Josiah Joseph. I say long time, but you haven't seen the field a lot, and that's why you're not as high on this ranking as you could be. You must be a man of patience, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a long 4 years, but at the same time, coaches did a really good job of keeping me involved and giving me a goal line package. So they kept me happy. I got to score some touchdowns and be a part of the offense. So they made sure that I was included.
So, like, when you chose Calgary, did you realize it was going to be such a long wait?
Well, when I was getting recruited by Ryan Shan and Wayne Harris, they told me that there's a fifth-year guy in Jimmy Underdahl that would be returning, is right now slated as a starter, and they're bringing in another guy from Quebec, Adam Sinagra. And after Jimmy's gone, it's between me and him to battle it out for the starting job. And I took on that challenge. I knew Calgary had the potential to win a championship while I was there, and that's what really kind of persuaded me. Mm-hmm. And we battled on the field, and he beat me out. And it was a very close battle. So to lose it to him, he's a great guy, good longtime friend. And for him to go on to win the heck, I'm happy for him. And I was just there to support because I knew that either one of us could get it done, and we ended up winning, and that was what it was all about.
How do you stay mentally sharp? I know you got some playing time. In fact, in the playoffs in the Vanier Cup run, I thought it was pretty poetic that you actually played a big factor in getting to the Vanier Cup. You only got, I think one play in the Vanier Cup, so you got to win a championship. Does that diminish the Vanier Cup at all for you, man?
It would have been if we won in 2016. When I think I had 2 touchdowns on the year. I was a short yardage guy, but Jimmy in bigger moments would take it on because he was the short yardage guy for 4 years. Similar situation to I'm in, but just having to come in and start for that Alberta first place showdown and to win home field advantage in my first start, I felt like that was a really important week. And then to come in the Hardy to kind of, when Adam got hurt, and to play well and help us move on to the Mitchell Bowl, it was just awesome. It was really nice for me to be able to leave my mark on the Vanier run. Mm-hmm. And even though I didn't play much in the Vanier, the practice all week for the Mitchell Bowl and a lot of the Vanier, I was taking all the 1 reps. And Adam was still recovering from that rib injury. So I took a lot of the reps and I helped prepare a lot of the receivers, and Adam came in and did his thing. And what a way to leave a mark on a program with a heck and a Vanier. I'm just happy for him, and I'm happy I could leave my mark as well on the run.
Did that give you some validation when you did that performance in the Hardy Cup?
For sure it did. I had a bad game against someone. Adam got hurt against Saskatchewan earlier in the week before my first start, and I felt like that was my chance to kind of show that I was ready this time. I was a lot more mentally prepared to come in that game versus the one earlier in the season. Okay,
bad interviewing by me. I kind of morphed 2 questions together, so let's rewind. How do you stay into it week after week when you're not the guy, and you're not the guy?
Honestly, it's just kind of the mindset that coaches help me learn throughout my career. Was just at any point you could be in, and Ryan Shan did keep Adam on a kind of a short leash. He'd often tell me to warm up if Adam made a mistake, and I'd have to tell Adam, like, look, don't worry about it. Like, we're supporting you, but I'd have to warm up just in case. So I think really it was at anything can happen at the quarterback position. And if I go in and lose, that's on me. And I didn't want to put our team in that position. So every week I prepared like I was starting. I watched a lot of film. Me and Adam watched together. I watched with receivers, and it was just sometimes I'd watch film and get 2 plays, but in instances like the Hardy Cup and some other moments in my career, it's been worth it. So.
Did you always have patience, or did you learn patience?
That's a good question. I think I learned it for sure. I think I did a lot of growing when I lost a starting job and had to kind of take a step back and be the backup. I think it took me some time to come to terms with it, but once we were winning and like I said earlier, the coaching staff kept me involved. It was never just about Adam. If Ryan Shan was giving a speech or Pat Shan was giving a speech, it wasn't just Adam's got to do this. It's Adam and Josiah as a collective group. And that really helped me. Adam would always come to the sideline. We would talk about things. He would ask me to watch things for him. So I feel like we kind of took on games together. And even though he was on the field doing it, I feel like I had my role to play on the sideline and in short yardage. And I felt like we were doing it as a team, as a group of 2 quarterbacks, as opposed just to one. So I feel like that kind of validated my career a bit.
Well, you didn't play in 2020, but you showed some really good quarterback leadership skills. You were one of the driving forces early on in the pandemic, almost a year ago in 2020. They were going to age out guys like you, and you bring up Jimmy Underdahl. I feel so bad for that guy. Here's the guy that waited like you for a long time, finally gets in, blows his knee, and never never does materialize for him. It could have been the same thing for you. Maybe you age out and don't get your chance to be a quarterback. You're very passionate about it. You really were the leading force. Just talk about that, because in the end, it worked out for you and about 299 other players across Canada.
Yeah, so I think the leading force is just the fact that I love football so much, and I had to reflect on it a couple weeks ago because still with the unknown of COVID, hopefully we do have a season, and I had to think, why am I still pushing? Why am I still pushing? And it comes back to the fact that I still love the game, and I still have so much to give back to the game, and I feel like I have so much energy and things to do on the field because I haven't yet. And that Alberta game was a teaser for me, and I really just wanted to be unleashed and show what I can do. And same with the Hardy Cup. I feel like I can do that more consistently. And when we were practicing in 2020 in the fall, I felt a lot more confident just because it was kind of me running the show, and I feel like I have a lot more impact to have. So it just comes back to the love of the game and wanting to pursue that.
How does it feel, man, because I've asked other guys this, to be a Canadian quarterback, and it's like almost like you got the plague. It's like you don't have a chance at the next level. That's really disheartening, and I personally think bad for the game of football in Canada.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of Canadian quarterbacks over the past few years, like Buckley, for example, that guys that are capable of playing at that level. The arm strength's there. Jimmy Underdahl told me when he came back from camp with the Alouettes that he had one of the stronger arms there, but it's just they love their Americans, and I think it'd be great for the game of football to have some more Canadians starting at quarterback.
Let's hope your buddy Sinagra gets a chance in Montreal. He's got a French-speaking general manager in a French-speaking city. He's from Quebec. It'd be something to see Adam Sinagra get an opportunity, but there again, they maybe because they knew they didn't have to, they didn't waste any draft capital on him. They signed him as a free agent.
Which I was kind of disappointed. I think he deserved to get drafted. And I was a little bit disappointed to see that we only had one guy picked, but I think he's not too bothered by it. I think he's just gonna fight for any opportunity he can get, and I really hope it works out for him.
Okay, let's put a nice bow in this interview. Give me, and take the team goals out of it, because we all know you want to defend the Vanier Cup and you guys have a good team. Josiah Joseph, what do you want from your 2021 season? What's a personal goal or goals for you? Personal goal is the Heck Crichton for me. I want to be included in the conversation with the previous Dino great quarterbacks. That's awesome. Set your sights high, and that's the only way it should be. Man, I really appreciate this. I hope we get to see a full season of you under center for Calgary and to see what Josiah Joseph can do, because you've waited a long time for it. Thanks, my friend. Awesome. Thank you. Here with Calgary Dinos linebacker Grant McDonald. Should I say Calgary linebacker Grant McDonald, or should I say Edmonton football team?
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah. No, I don't know. What should I say? Do I refer to you as a Dino or an Edmonton football team guy? Yeah, I think I'm in that in between stage right now. Still kind of a Dino and still kind of on Edmonton. Yeah, it's a weird spot to be in. Do you have to get some sort of like itch cream or penicillin because you're like a Calgary, you beat, but then you're Calgary, now you got to go north to Edmonton. That's kind of weird. Yeah, no, it is kind of weird. Definitely gonna take some getting used to, but welcome experience. What do you like best about the game? What turns you on to the game initially, and what do you like about it now? Maybe it's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it really is. As a 9-10-year-old, there was this idea that you could hit people and not get in trouble for it, and I guess not much has changed. What are you, a robot? You play a physical position. How the hell haven't you had anything really more than a sprained ankle? I know. I kind of asked myself the same thing, but I guess I play smart. I don't know. Yeah. Are you superstitious? Like, do you believe in? Like, I hope I didn't jinx you. Okay, but like, do you believe in any of that stuff? Are you superstitious on game day or anything like that? No, I think you make your own luck. I think with preparation and then training and stuff, I think you can kind of. So I wouldn't say that I'm superstitious towards that, and it's not really something that I think about too much either when I'm playing. It's it's not on like the forefront of my mind to be like protecting myself or whatnot. It's just how the cards have laid. Okay, but you make 2 tackles, you have a fumble recovery, and you have an interception. Are you washing your clothes underneath your football equipment,
Or are you going to keep the same clothes on and not break the jinx?
No, yeah, definitely not superstitious that way. I'm definitely got to get the gear in the washing machine for sure.
That's awesome. Hey, what was it like winning the Vanier Cup, especially with your buddy Charlie Moore, who also got drafted? He gets to stay in Calgary. What was that like? Because you guys have been running mates all the way since your younger days.
I mean, yeah, it was so special. I have a really cool picture on my phone of me and Charlie, giving each other a hug, and we're looking at the scoreboard, and there's fireworks going off in the background. It's really cool because me and Charlie have played together since we were, a couple of years old, since you could play football. And it's somebody that it's going to be tough to see him in different colors than me, but I was super happy for him. I was happy for him that I was for myself, getting drafted and getting this opportunity at the next level. So it's going to be weird for sure though.
To me, the #1 Labor Day Classic, just because you can tell by the rider jerseys, I'm in Regina, so it's Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. But the other one is Edmonton, Calgary. Charlie Moore versus Grant McDonald, the Labor Day Classic. That'll be cool.
Yeah, that will be really special. It'll be really cool to get back down to McMahon Stadium and give them the best on Labor Day for sure.
Now, you didn't start in Calgary. You went from BC to the University of Maine and then found your way back to USPORTS. Just tell us about that whole journey there.
Yeah, I was recruited pretty heavily by US schools coming out of high school, so that was kind of my my focus. I didn't look too much into the Canadian schools when I was in the recruiting process. But my older brother Jack, he was like right out of high school, he went to the University of Calgary, so that was kind of my connection that I had to Calgary. Mm-hmm. I went to Maine. I played a year, did my freshman year there. I loved it. Had a good experience. Some coaching staff changes, went on, and kind of some turmoil took on to that program, and I ended up, coming back and making the decision to come back to Calgary, and it paid off, and I'm super happy that I did it, and I wouldn't, change anything.
So you were on the offensive side though, plus the special teamer, like you played tight end. Did that help you in your development, like to see football from a different side?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely grew my knowledge of the game. It gave me a really good understanding of how the offensive, systems work. And from what I can understand, it is fairly similar from the US to the Canadian systems that the offense run on. But yeah, for the most part, it was just an opportunity. They allowed me to play offense, which I did as well in high school. They allowed me to continue that on. And then, ultimately they really liked my play on special teams and, moved me back to kind of my stock position at linebacker and somewhere they saw me. Yeah. That's where I've been since. Yeah, so you come back to Calgary and you're with your brothers. Tell us about your older brother Jack, and then you've got a younger brother too. So there's the real McDonald connection in Calgary. Yes, sir. Yeah. So I came back, lived with my older brother Jack for 2 years. Great experience. I just living with him and him showing me the city and the ropes with the teams and everything like that. And I think that was really, really a special, a couple of years that we had together there. And then this past year, my younger brother, Ben, he joined the Dinos, and he came and lived with me again. So, I kind of got to do the reverse of what my older brother did for me, for my younger brother. And yeah, it's been a really, really special time out there. So what was it like for you to finally win the Vanier Cup? Because the Calgary Dinos were kind of they were the early 90s Buffalo Bills. Always get to the dance or close to the dance and never get it over the top. But you finally did it. What did that feel like? Yeah, it was so special. It was so much fun. That whole year, from the beginning in training camp, something was just different. Everybody was operating at a higher level. Everybody was a little bit more focused than we had been before. And I think we had a really special group of guys, and we knew it in our hearts that this was going to happen, and we just saw it all the way through, and it did. Grant, what's the best thing about your game? I think I seek contact, and I think that I play the game kind of in an old school fashion, and I like you said, I've been pretty lucky with being injury free and whatnot. So I think just my resilience and my work ethic is the best part of my game for sure. Well, and you gotta love special teams, and if you're gonna play in the CFL as a Canadian, that's where you're gonna get your start. Has the Edmonton football team, and as we tape this, they're about to pick a name. Have they told you their plans for you or where they see you? Yeah, so I was told that like you said, have a good opportunity to have a good start on special teams, and earn my stripes that way, and probably continue playing that throughout my career. But they did say that they saw me improving and working up to that linebacker position on the weak side, and they thought it was something that my skill set could do, and that I would just have to get comfortable enough to take that challenge on.
You're kind of in a tweener spot, like a lot of guys, like you said at the start of this interview. We don't know whether to call you a Dino or an Edmonton football team player. And it's going to be interesting for you guys too, because you've got your draft class and the draft class before you kind of get a roster spot. Plus, we've got a shortened season. We don't know how short. So it might be tough initially to make the roster, and that has nothing to do with your talent. That kind of, I know you're going in trying to make the team, but you also know that if you don't make it, it's not because you're not talented. It might just be circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going into it looking at it that it's no different than any other year, that I would give it my all regardless of what the situation is, and whatever happens at that point. It's kind of I'll give my best effort in, and then it's out of my control. What's
your plan once football's done, whenever that might be? Because once football's done, whether you play a 10-year pro career, Grant, you got a whole life to lead. So what are you doing in school, and where are you hoping to go after school?
Yeah, I want to be a firefighter after football is done. Yeah, it's been a career path that I've been looking at for a number of years now, and it's something that I'm excited to start working towards once football is, like you said, coming to an end. But right now at this time, I'm all eyes ahead on the football career.
So let me ask you this, and I've asked other guys this: are you going to school to play football? You know what I mean? Because as a firefighter, I mean, what classes do you take that help you become a firefighter? Right. Maybe I'm out to lunch. I don't know.
I think that football gave me a great opportunity to get an education, with obviously it's a scholarship and a reduced price to it, and I think that is something that's great and to have in the today's day and time, have a degree under your belt and stuff. So it's something that I would have wanted to do regardless of what my situation athletically was, but that I can get it paid for is just a bonus on top.
Hey, last one for you, just kind of joking, but maybe you can get some sort of endorsement deal in Edmonton with a hair care place. You got some great hair. Anybody tell you that? You got some great locks.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks.
I'd say that was a guy.
Charlie's always getting on me because they're always wanting to cut the linebackers' hair at Calgary or whatever, but we buzz it off every year kind of as the tradition. So he's always getting on me that I need to get the hairline receding a little bit.
So do you grow it out during the season? Do you let it go, or do you keep it pretty short?
Yeah, I keep it pretty short. Low maintenance, it just takes 2 seconds in the morning, and I like it. I like it pretty short. Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna be a firefighter, I've got a cousin that's a firefighter in Sherwood Park, and you got to roll. Boom, you got to roll out of the rack and go. You don't need to be tripped over your hair and all that other stuff, right?
Exactly.
Hey, thanks for this, man. Congratulations, you're in the top 20 on our list. Well deserved, and well deserved that you got drafted. Can't wait to watch you play, whether it's CanWest or CFL. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Speaking with Rams offensive lineman Andrew Becker. It's hard. Do I say Rams offensive lineman or Alouettes offensive lineman? It's been weird for you. You got drafted, but then you didn't get to go to camp with the Owls.
Yeah, it's definitely been a weird time. I mean, just kind of playing the waiting game right now, but I mean, just looking forward to whatever opportunity comes my way.
Got a smile on your face, so obviously you're very proud to have been drafted. What was that day like? How did you find out?
It was a crazy day. Yeah, I was just at home with my family. We were watching the draft go by in the ticker, and then saw my name get called on the online thing, and then a couple minutes later, Coach Jones gave me a call. So we were all real excited.
Yeah. So have they told you what how you figure into their plans? What their plans are for you?
I'm not too sure yet. I think we'll know more closer to when we find a date. But I think right now I'm just getting ready to play wherever they need me to.
Yeah. So do you think this pandemic hurt you or helped you? Did it hurt you more or help you more?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been tough. I think it's been tough on all of us. I'm anxious to get out there on the field and play again. But I think I've seen myself grow as a football player, as an athlete, and personally through this pandemic. I think it's been an opportunity to A, get healthy, and then just B, progress my game.
Yeah, is this the healthiest you've been, Andrew?
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt.
What kind of nicks and bruises and stuff did you have that you kind of needed to heal from?
Well, the big thing going to the draft was the concussions. I came off my senior year with a concussion that ended my season around game 4. So just letting that heal up and then giving that a full, basically extra year to heal up was definitely a blessing in disguise, I think. And I feel 100% ready. And yeah.
How scary is it with the concussions? Because I mean, let's be honest. You can't see a concussion. I know our mentality has changed with concussion in football. It used to be, hey, get out there, tell him he's Roger Aldag and get him out on the field, or Gene Mikowski. Now it's take time with it. But personally, how concerning was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, it was definitely scary. I think it's something that no one wants to experience. But I just like you said, our kind of attitudes towards concussions have changed, and our medical staff did a great job. They forced me to keep it slow. They forced me off the field, right? If it was up to me, I want to get back out there. I want to play as soon as I can. But just having their guidance and kind of wisdom in the whole process was huge.
How concerned were you that the concussion problems might affect your draft status? Did it go kind of how you thought it would? Because when I talked to CFL guys, they said, you know what? A few of them said, had Becker not had the concussion problems, he could have easily been a second round or maybe even a first round pick. But obviously, it was kind of a buyer beware thing with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the common narrative throughout all the interviews, all the process leading up. But I think at the end of the day, I had no expectations going into the night. I was just looking for a team to take a shot on me, and I was thankful Coach Jones and the Alouette staff saw that in me and took a chance with me.
Without being in a CFL camp yet, what makes you think you can play at the next level?
I just think that I'm my attention to detail in my game. I'm willing to take the next steps to do the little things right, whether it's learning new strikes, changing up my handwork, making sure that my footwork is on par. I think I'm just willing to put in the work to make sure that all that stuff takes that next step to get me to that level.
Are you more comfortable at guard or tackle?
Honestly, anywhere. I played all 5 at the level, which has been helpful throughout the process. I think at the next level, I definitely project better as a center or a guard.
Right.
But if in a pinch, I mean, I'm willing to play tackle as well.
Yeah, center is something that you're good at, and it takes a lot of that, like you talked about, that mental edge, that football IQ. That's something you really kind of hang your hat on, right?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely spend a lot of extra time studying the playbook and in the film room for sure to make that happen.
Yeah. So, and the other thing that I find when I talk to coaches and some Canadian players that go up and play on the line, it's the footwork. The footwork has to be better when you get to the next level. You kind of mentioned it there. Have you identified that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just watching film on the Alouettes and their offensive line, everyone's a big, strong, great athlete, but the thing that sets guys apart in the CFL is just little things, and that includes their footwork. They're taking the exact right steps for the exact right situation based on whether the play call or the defensive alignment. Your
thoughts on the XFL CFL talk and how it might affect Canadians, because that's something that could be right down your alley. When I hear talk like that, as a guy who loves Canadian football, and don't get me wrong, I love Americans too, but you know, the whole ratio, protect our game. I feel like I get a little nervous. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not even too sure what to expect. You know, I've been looking at all that stuff online and reading into what people are saying, but to be honest, it's just so far out of my control. I'm just trying not to worry about it too much. I think the league's in good hands with the leadership it has right now, and I trust that the CFLPA will protect the players and our rights too. So I think the right decisions will be made, and I'm curious to see what that merger, if it happens, will look like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So Bex, what's your goal this year? What's your goal in football? It's weird to ask you this question because you go either way. You can go, let's go. What's your goal
professionally? I think just to have a great first impression at camp. I think Whether I get sent back or whether I stick or not, I think I just want to go out there and prove that I can compete at that level, and that I'm willing to be a good teammate, a good locker room guy, and also a player that they could see as a potential for the future.
What kind of Andrew Becker do the Rams get if he doesn't make pro football this year, if he gets sent back?
I'm all in. We always say that saying, be where your feet are, but if I'm with the Rams, I'm all in on the Rams, and they're gonna get a player who's gonna work hard, and I'm gonna try to really take that next step in my leadership for them, and hopefully let's win us a Hardy, and then see where we go from there.
Well, you're one of the best linemen in the league, blocking for one of the best backs in the league now, and Kyle Borsa coming back. And when I say that name, you probably start smiling like a butcher's dog to have a guy like that. He makes linemen look pretty good.
Yeah, he makes our job a lot easier. Definitely, he's just with his speed, but just his willingness to just hit a gap and run physically, it makes it a lot easier for us.
Talked to a lot of guys. They mentioned him and you as kind of the leaders in terms of work ethic. Where did your work ethic come from?
Just growing up, I think my high school coach, he always preached it, like, especially as offensive linemen, the season's won in the off season, and I just took that to heart, and I really found that, like, the off season was where I get to transform my body. I get to become the best player that I can be, and then I can bring those skills I've gained into season, and I've seen it pay off for me in the past, and it's something that I take pride in.
I asked you about personal goals. I'm asking a lot of guys this. What's a realistic goal for your team this year? Everybody wants to win the Vanier Cup, but that's a real pie in the sky thing. What is a realistic goal as a leader on the Rams for this football team, whether you're here or not?
Yeah, definitely the Vanier is a tough one because you never really know what's going on out east with those teams. But I think it's us taking care of our conference in the CanWest. I would love to see us win a Hardy, and then after that, I mean, we've seen teams from the West go and make huge runs in the playoffs. So I think we just need to focus on winning a Hardy and getting out of the West.
Which team do you get pumped up to play the most in the CanWest? I mean, Calgary's the champs, but like, you like going up the highway and playing that atmosphere in Saskatoon. What team do you get pumped up to play the most?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the rivalry between us and U of S is always a great game. I know especially in my 4 or 5 years here, we've had some great games, some great back and forwards, and I always look forward to those games on the schedule.
Well, man, I'm really happy to have a chance to talk to you. Really looking forward to seeing you on a football field. Now, it's weird for me. I really hope you stick with the Alouettes and get to play pro football. But selfishly, as the guy back here calling Ram games, I hope I get to call you one more season. So best of luck. I'm happy you're healthy, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate all that.
All right, Michael, you go by Michael or Mike?
Mike.
Mike, okay. But your full name's Michael.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's weird is it's AEL, like mine, but you do your email EAL. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, it's just I've had that email since high school, probably like grade 9 or something, and it was the only way I could get that close to every email in the world with Michael's almost taken, so it's the only way I could get pretty much that, so yeah.
Okay, so but do you get a little miffed when people spell your name Micheal? Because I do. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, like it's whatever, but like because I spelled my email like that, I just have to correct people and make sure I pay attention to that for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, what are you taking in school?
I'm in U1. I'm looking forward to try to get into a social work degree eventually, and yeah, that would be my pursuit.
And so why the social work field? What intrigues you about that field?
There's just a lot of opportunity to give back and, make a living doing that at the same time. And I think that's a very special opportunity. A lot of people take, I guess, like a lot of males don't work in that field. And I think that's a strongly influenced field that, males should be in. And I think there could be a lot of difference and stuff in that stuff. So.
Who's a big influence in your life? Maybe on the football field, off the football field?
Off the football field, I had like a few people that really mentored me and role modeled me. My teachers probably were a big reason why my success in football really took off. They seen that I was able to really achieve. So like Mike Kennedy was one of my first teachers really seeing that, and Glenn Bruce, they were huge support systems for me. Glenn trained a lot of professional athletes at the time, and he was very instrumental for my success going into later in my life. And then more recently, I work with a guy who played in the CFL and the NFL, Lamar McGriggs. He's a pretty big influence to me as well. He's, teaching me what it is to be successful and, what it is to succeed at that level of football as well.
Former Saskatchewan Rough Rider Lamar McGriggs, among other teams. How'd you get hooked up with him?
So my older brother's been training with him for years, and then I actually was just coming to an end at my rifle career, and I was looking to really take my training to the next level, and he reached out to me, and been like, I've been nothing but happy since. The work that he's done for me made me completely ready to go into university, and just ready to tear the game up. So I'm very fortunate for him.
We'll get into some of your impressive stats in a minute. Back to the social working thing, Mike. Where did that giving back mentality come from, do you feel?
I'm a kid that didn't come from much. I came from the inner city of Winnipeg. I had to go through a lot myself to get to this position that I'm at. For me, I think that'd be something, I know there's a lot of kids that have better opportunities or should have better opportunities, are more athletically inclined and smarter than I was at the time. I'd love to give kids like that opportunities one day. I think that'd be a big goal for me.
Mike, if you don't mind, because this is all about promoting athletes and their stories, can you give us a story, one example of what you overcame to get to where you are, if you're comfortable doing that, if it's something off the top of your head?
Yeah. My childhood, I started growing up in the North End. That was the beginning of my life. I did not have a lot. I had 6 brothers and sisters, a single mother. She was it was very much so like a hardship at the time, and things didn't go quite great for a while, and we ended up getting put into foster care, which ended up being as much of it is a blessing. It was something that was very much I had to get through in life. The blessing came with football and sports. They really pushed my athletic career forward because I was allowed to play any sport I wanted. So that was the one thing that I did. Being in the foster home, I wasn't too fond of it. I didn't enjoy my time there. So I used sports as my major outlet, and it really helped me achieve my success and, keep my head leveled at the time when especially a kid like me would be more so doing wrong than good. But, ended up going back to live with my mom later in life, and I ended up going to play high school football with her, and it was just an amazing experience for me because that's when football really took off, and I really started to, show that I had true potential at it, and it was just, ended up working out for the best. So, I'm grateful for the things that have happened to me because you can't change that. I think those are truly things that make a person, and I wouldn't change anything really.
Awesome, man. I hear a lot of people say that. It's a great story. Thanks for sharing that. A lot of people might get some inspiration from that. You had a really inspiring season. 3rd best kick return average, I think, in CanWest history, and you broke a 26-year record with your kick return yards. You were an all-star in 2 positions, not just running back, but also kick return. What do you like doing better, kick returns or running back?
I love to use kick return as a game changer. I love playing running back. That's if opportunity to choose one, I would choose running back. But I love kick return. I think it's a game changing experience. Like at any time you could get the ball, take it to the other side of the field, and you give your offense a good field position. I think that's a huge thing. I love making contributions, but when it comes down to it, I love running back. I love the versatility of what running back is. I don't think there's a lot of positions that have that versatility to run, block, catch, everything that pretty much a football player would have to do. A running back has to do it, and I enjoy that aspect of the game. I'm very competitive, so I think a running back has to be a very competitive person. It gives you the biggest chance to compete, make plays, and do something for your team as well as protecting the quarterback. So I really love playing running back.
Coach told me you're a really solid dude, really tough, straight ahead runner. what's your best attribute? Because you average like 7.9 yards a carry. It's like, I saw those stats and I'm like, why the heck didn't they give him the ball more?
Yeah, we had some really good running backs. We had a really system of pretty much like everybody was in a rotation, but I think for me, my attribute that's the strongest is I just love to hit the hole. When I see that small gap, that opening, it really doesn't matter who's in front of me. I'm gonna hit that with as much pursuit as I can. So the attribute that definitely separate me from other people, because running backs are very much alike in that sense. Really good running backs you'll find hit the hole at a high level, but the thing that separates me probably after that is my vision. I'm able to see things a lot faster, I think, break the game down, and probably my mentals in the game itself. I'm a little bit more mature than CIS guys, so I definitely had the edge in the film room, and I've been to pro camp, so I've learned how to break film down and everything. So there's definitely that edge separates me as well, my vision and probably my game, my IQ.
Tell us about your experience at pro camp. What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. It really felt like home, going into a team that you've been watching since you were a kid and growing up your whole life, you watched. It was amazing, unreal experience. But, I think it was the shock wear off really fast when you realize that, you're looking at something you could potentially do. So for me, it turned to pretty quick to business. And, I really got the most out of that with getting my knowledge of the game up and, taking advantage of seeing how everybody trains and how they get to these points in their careers and stuff. So it was very eye-opening experience for me. I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, so do you look at a guy like an Andrew Harris and a guy like Nick Dembski with the Blue Bombers, local kids, with a lot of reverence because you're a local guy too?
Yeah, it's awesome. I love how the Bombers take opportunities and, they expand in their developing Canadian players, especially hometown-based kids. I think that's an amazing experience. I'm always with any team that's willing to develop a kid. I see a lot of kids in the CFL, they go in and out really fast and they're 1 year off of a development and they're going to be somebody, right? So, it's very fun to watch teams develop talent and, get them to that level.
Yeah, hopefully that can stay that way. You talked about hitting the hole, and running back is like a car accident every time you get the football. It's not it's not a position for the faint of heart. But you mentioned your upbringing. You mentioned all the adversity. Did your background kind of help you with the whole no fear mentality when you're playing running back?
Yeah, for me, I started playing defense as a kid, and that was the thing that separated me right away. I went from defensive line to middle linebacker within my first few games. The thing that they noticed right away was the fearless, right? And, being able to run through and finding what you need to do. And I think that's just something that stuck with me since I was very young. And I don't think you could play football scared. You're not you can play it scared, but you're not going to be successful as your life keeps going forward because everybody gets more and more fearless. You have to be confident and it's instinctual at the same time, as well as the knowledge that you have. So for me, it was definitely, playing running back and linebacker, those positions as a kid, those are tough positions, but I've always used my pain for something better for myself. It's not healthy to hold it in, find ways to take it out as comfortably as possible. I think those are very important things for people. And, I've always used those as my outlets.
Adversity's been in your life. You've mentioned it. How have you handled the adversity of coming off a great season and then being away from football this long? How have you handled it physically? How have you handled it mentally?
The mental aspect of it at first was everybody I think had to get over that woe is me. And for me, I think I did that a little bit faster. I realized in a short period of time, okay, look, I could still train for an opportunity to go pro. I cannot treat these as something I can't treat it as if everything is done right now, even though at the time, right, everybody just seems like there's no future going forward. But, I just kind of kept my head down and kept working. I had a great trainer at the time, Lamar McGriggs. I spent, as soon as spring comes, spring rolls around, I'm with him. I run with Glenn Bruce as well. So I think me personally, in this next 2 to 3 months time, I think I'll be more athletic than I've been in the last 4 or 5 years of my life, you know, so I'm very grateful for that I've had people to train with and be able to work and continue to put this work in. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, lastly, Mike, what's a personal goal for you? Don't, and I've said this all the guys I've interviewed, don't give me you want to win a Hardy Cup or a Vanier Cup. I already know that. If you're not playing for a championship, you're not on this list. I know that's your mentality. What's your goal? Sure. And to me, from the outside, I would say you want to get more touches. Am I right when I say that? Like, I want to be the bell cow back. I want to be the big dog.
Yeah, you know, like, given the opportunity, I think I could be one of those guys that's a difference maker. I would probably say, you know, like, I would love to, you know, be a part of something special, but of course everybody wants to go to the championships. But for me, I just, if I could, you know, contribute more on my team, you know, be a solid factor and, you know, help produce more wins. That's at any given way. That's all I would love to do, you know, so more wins is all I want.
Michael, Michael, thanks for this. I appreciate it, Mike.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate it, man.
Here with U of S Huskies offensive lineman Noah Zerr. You're too good looking to be an offensive lineman.
Thank you.
Anybody tell you that? You look like a model, man. You got the nice even beard there. You got a nice full head of hair. Got $1 million smile. Anybody tell you that?
No, just my mom.
Just your mom. Well, listen, I'm saying that in a friendly way, but not overly friendly, if you know what I mean. Okay, just appreciating it. Hey, so 6'7", 320 pounds. Is the weight correct? Or are you heavier? Same?
Yeah, just about the same. Maybe a little bit lighter.
Okay. What do you like to play at?
This next season, I am hoping to play around 315, 310.
Okay.
Yeah, just aiming to be a little bit lighter than I was last time I played. Last time I was kind of in front of that USPORTS crowd. I think the last couple of years I've been playing at almost 350. So it'll be a change for sure.
Have you always been the biggest guy? When did you realize you were the biggest guy?
I've always kind of been the biggest guy. I think growing up, I was always taller than a lot of my friends. But especially coming into this world, the USPORTS world, you meet a lot of different characters and you learn that you're not the biggest dog anymore. So it was a shock for me to kind of come to the Huskies and see guys like Nick Summick and Ryan Bredner and all those really big, really talented guys that have come before me, standing at 6'8", 6'9". So
was it humbling?
It was, yeah, fun and humbling to kind of learn that you're not the biggest dog in the park anymore.
That's cool, but let's go back to being the biggest dog in the park, Noah Zerr. Did you get picked on because you were the biggest dog in the park? Like, I know you're big, people wouldn't maybe pick a fight with you, but did they make fun of you because you were the biggest guy and you're probably a little bit clumsy when you're growing up?
Yeah, for sure. I think it definitely took me a while to kind of grow into my body. So the biggest thing for me was, it was hard kind of growing up bigger than everyone because it did kind of put a target on your back. Some of those younger kids, smaller kids, always had to find some way to kind of equalize you, you know? Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of bullying here and there, but as I got older and as I kind of minded my own business and eventually kind of grew into my own skin, I began to realize it's not always a bad thing to be the biggest guy. And a lot of that stuff kind of comes in handy later in life. Yeah. Stuff that you might not think is a benefit when you're a little kid.
So I got to put a warning label, not your name on the back of the jersey, but the warning label. What would Noah Zerr's warning label say?
I think my warning label would say something like, I'm, that's a hard one to think about. I would have to say, don't push me too hard because you won't like what you find.
That's a long label, but I don't think I want to push you too hard. Do you have a nickname?
No, growing up it was always just Big Zerr, Big Zerr, Big Z, stuff like that.
Yeah. You're taking kinesiology in school, is that correct?
Yeah, in my fifth year of kinesiology.
So what would you like to do in that field once your football career is done, hopefully a decade from now or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure, but my main kind of goal right now is to get my kin degree, get my psych minor, and maybe finish off a psych degree and see what the field of sports psychology kind of has in store for me. I think that's I think it's a really kind of underdeveloped field, and I don't think a lot of people spend too much time thinking about their mental game. So I think I'd really love to be a sports psychologist.
What do you do for your mental game? How do you deal with the stresses that come with football, that come with being a student athlete, that come with, trying to live up to expectations?
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a challenge for me right off the bat. I think for a lot of us university kids, kind of coming from a high school background where nothing was really maybe expected of you and you were just kind of automatically the biggest player, our mentality is kind of switched into now you have to pay attention to your mental game. You have to kind of develop your mental skills and how you deal with stress. So for me, it was just talking about plays and talking about film and discussing with some of my peers and my parents what I'm seeing and what I'm preparing for, and just going through the steps in my head. I think the biggest thing was like a visualization for me. It was just kind of putting my visualization out there and talking about what I wanted on game day and talking about my goals and talking about some of the stuff I was preparing for. I think that was the biggest thing for me.
I talked to Coach Scott Flory, who obviously is a Hall of Fame offensive lineman, big-time Grey Cup champion, and a great guy to have as a mentor for you. He said, Noah, one thing about Noah, and it's with all big guys, Chris Morris said the same thing. Big guys, they gotta, their feet gotta catch up to their bodies. And I think that's the one thing that everybody identifies as Noah Zerr, his footwork. But Scott Flory said you've done a great job in the off season, moving crisply through drills. Has that really been a focus of yours to pay attention to that footwork? Because you can't teach size, Noah, but you can teach footwork, and that's going to probably be the difference between being a kinesiology dude or playing professional football somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was a huge goal of mine. I think kind of definitely coming into our COVID season and this COVID time we had and lockdown, it was a huge goal for me to kind of cut that bad weight down and see what my body can really do and see how fast my feet can really move. I think the weight thing was huge, but I do think that I've paid a lot more attention to what my body tells me and a lot more attention to maybe the mechanics of certain movements and working with guys like Joel Lipinski at Ignite Athletics, I think has been huge for my development. He does a great job at kind of slowing the game down for you. He talks about what needs to happen here and what needs to happen there for you to be the most successful, and that's been huge for me.
So has it always been a goal for you ever since growing up in the Yorkton area to play professional football? Yeah, totally. I think growing up, especially us rural kids, are always diehard Rough Rider fans. It's just kind of in our blood. So very early in my life, I was kind of turned on to the CFL and that brand of hard-nosed football. And yeah, it was such it just felt so natural to want to do that. My dad did it. My dad played with the Huskies here in Saskatoon, and yeah, it's always been a lifelong goal. I think I remember being 6 years old and asking my dad if I'm going to play in the CFL someday. And being the hard-nosed farmer he was, he said, I don't know, but you're going to have to work for it. That's all I know. Mm-hmm. So if your aspirations gone, not that the CFL isn't great, because we both know we love the CFL, but you're big enough that you could get some looks in the NFL. Do you look? That's the ultimate league. That's where the money is. That's where the best players play. Mm-hmm. Is that an aspiration you're looking towards?
Totally. Totally. I think all of the people that want to play football professionally obviously want to end up in the best of the best. You know, they always want to end up in that NFL, that Premier League, if you will, and they want to compete against the best athletes in the world. And I think I definitely want to do the same. It's always kind of, as soon as I kind of found out how serious football can be taken and how great some athletes can really be, I think it was always a goal of mine to really strive for that, really show everybody what I got and see if it's good enough to play with the best of the best.
What's the strategy this year of not getting drafted? You deferred your draft both in the CFL and the NFL. What was the strategy behind that, Noah?
I think the strategy for me was with COVID and with everything kind of getting all shuffled around, there was just so much uncertainty in the air that it just felt really natural for me to kind of take a step back and let that league kind of sort itself out and give me time to kind of work on myself. I just wasn't sure what the CFL was going to do, and looking back on it, I think I made the best decision for myself. And I really took this time to kind of focus on getting 100% healthy and getting to my best physical shape and really prepping hard for this next football season, if we have one.
Yeah, no, and that's the key. So much up in the air. Last question for you. How much does a guy like Scott Flory help you? Like that's got to be like, I mean, you won the lottery there with that guy for a head coach, offensive line and a head coach guy.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge for me, especially. It was definitely one of the main factors in my decision to come to the U of S. I think me and my family have a long history, so the U of S was always in the cards. But as soon as I found out that Scott Flory was the OC, it just made the decision so much easier. He's a great guy to have around, and just being around him, you end up learning so much. You know, it's from mentality to technique to what it takes to be a great football player. You know, I think it's just being in the same room as that guy is beneficial to you, especially if you're an alignment.
I guess I'm throwing question upon question. Last one for you. Is it easy for you to flip a switch? Because you're smiling here. You seem like a very nice guy. You've been polite every time I've dealt with you, but you can't be a polite guy in a football field. You got a couple screws loose up there, Noah Zerr?
Yeah, I think I remember I was having a conversation with my dad back in the day, and he said, if this is something you really want to do and something that you really want to take seriously, you have to have a switch. That's something my dad always emphasized growing up. You can be the nicest guy, but as soon as you're in between those white lines, nobody crosses you. That you have a vendetta, you have scores you need to settle. Somebody's been talking trash. You need to set the record straight. You know, so for me, I don't know about screws loose, but I think I'm a nice enough guy. But once I step between those white lines, all that leaves. You know, all that goes out the window, and I go to I hate to say it, a darker place maybe, a place where I'm not so friendly. And I think that's something that's been super important for me. Just really kind of separate myself from football player and playing football, you know.
Well, I come up with your nickname. It's the Unfriendly Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah? The Unfriendly Giant. Noah Zerr. Hey, man, I appreciate this. Can't wait to see you on a football field. And tell you what, you make it to the NFL, you got some endorsement deals there with that smile. There's some car dealerships, maybe, I don't know, who knows, eh?
Well, thank you very much.
Take care, buddy.
Yeah, you too.
And that's been another installment of the CanWest Top 50 show. Thanks for checking us out as we dipped our toes into the top 20. Next week, we get closer to revealing the #1 player in Western Canada in university football. Thanks for checking us out.